something I do, which I don't think I may be the only speaker in the world that possibly does this. I don't know. And I've been doing this for years, is I use artificial intelligence to analyze the audience I'm going to be speaking to in advance of the event. So basically what this tells me is it tells me the psychometric profile of your audience. So it tells me this audience is an audience that values data a little bit more. Maybe it's a room of engineers. So they got everything I say, I have to be able to support it with evidence and data. Or this is a story that's got a big heart, and I'm going to tell more emotional stories. Or this is an audience who is a little bit of a contrarian kind of audience. They're going to push back on things. So I wanted a little bit more time for Q&A as well. So what I do is I basically work with a client. They give me essentially the names or job titles of the people that are coming to the event. I use some tools, AI tools. It gives me the psychometric map. I then create a psychometric map of the presentation or the keynote, the draft keynote. And then I can overlay the psychometrics of the presentation and the psychometrics of your audience. And I can see the gaps. So I can see what needs to be tweaked. And so the emotional response for that is people often after they hear me speak say, I felt like you were talking to me, directly to me. And they had that connection with it, either on an intellectual or an emotional level. But I'm using data to do this as well. So I'm using
really
AI. So this is like human and AI piece.
That's really cool. Do you find that what your preparation, doing those psychometrics, and then what has there ever been? Do you have to check in with the event organizers, the meeting planners, to make sure you're right on track? Sometimes what you get,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just one point of things. I put a huge amount of prep into every keynote. So what normally happens is once a client confirms me, like say with your bureau, for example, then there's a document I would send them. I want to know about the audience. I want to know the objectives for their event from a strategic standpoint. I want to understand their brand voice, their culture of the organization. We then jump on a pre-event call. I ask a whole bunch of questions. I then also want to speak to maybe one or two audience members in advance of the event. So that, for me, that helps me get my ear to specific ways that they refer to customers or clients or suppliers, or helps me understand, like, from the trenches, what are the 2 a.m. problems of the people in the organization? How sophisticated the organization when it comes to AI? Because I don't want to be talking over people's heads, but I also don't want to be dumbing things down too much as well. Yeah. And then I use the AI stuff and I go and build out the keynote. And in about a week or 2 weeks before the event, I will walk the client through the entire keynote. So it's like getting a handmade suit or a dress made. At that point, the client can say to me, James, we love this story here. Could you refer to, we're going to have a closing that's going to link to that. Or actually, we've decided to have this session here, so maybe we don't need to cover this bit as much. It gives the client confidence that where I step on the stage, they know exactly what's going to be coming out of my mouth, what I'm going to be saying, and it's going to be in alignment with their audience as well. And so that gives a peace of mind for that event planner or that client. Because I basically want whoever books me, whether it's the head of HR or the event planner, whoever it is, I want the most senior person in the organization coming up to that person afterwards and say, great job. That was the best speaker we've ever had. Awesome. Fantastic. I want to make that person a rock star for bringing me in. That's kind of what I'm trying to do.
I think, as you list out your preparation, I think that that's a perfect example of that balance, whether it's a Centaur or a Cyborg, of using AI, using technology, also incorporating your creative side, the human aspect to it, blending it all together. And then with your final product, it's what is interesting is when those psychometrics come back is what is it that is indexing very high. They value experience, they value safety, they value connection. And then that gives you kind of some guidance to, and then what level of dose you're going to do there is all the other preparation, your pre-event calls, the document that you send out, and the final touches as well. That's really, really cool.
Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, the AI doesn't write my keynote for me, but hopefully it does make me a better storyteller, a better communicator, and able to connect with people. Because if I'm just going in the room and I'm just purely entertaining an audience, then it's kind of not the point. I feel the point of a great speaker, kind of going back to what you said earlier, is to create that transformation in the room. That they enter the room and they leave the room with almost like a different person, or with a different perspective on something, or a new insight on something as well. I want to be able to create that transformation.